Oh, the white man's science is amazing, ain't it? Oh, no, this can't be. It says I'm 102% African with a 2% margin of error.
Yes, Ninja, you black. Oh, I am so sorry. That was aggressive. I'm kind of sort of, but not really talking about a topic that might make people uncomfortable. So click out of this video. What I'm about to talk about makes you uncomfortable. Uncle Ruckus is a character I've been thinking about a lot lately. And one question that always goes into my mind is, why does Uncle Ruckus hate black people and essentially himself? Uncle Ruckus is one of the most controversial and satirical characters in Aron McGruder's The Boondocks. He is a black man who not only despises other black people, but also harbors a deep, toxic hatred for himself. He denies his blackness, claims he suffers from vitiligo, a fictional skin condition that makes him darker, mocking the real condition which Michael Jackson famously had.
That's right. You heard of vitiligo? Shoot, well, I got vitiligo. Every year my skin just seemed to get blacker and darker and blacker and then more darker. It's the opposite of what Michael Jackson got. Lucky bastard.
And praises white people as the supreme race. His absurdity often invites laughter. Don't get me wrong, anytime Uncle Ruckus comes on screen, I know I'm in for a good laugh. But underneath the comedic surface lies a disturbing portrait of eternalized racism, generational trauma, and deep psychological damage. Uncle Ruckus is a symbol of extreme self-hatred.
How could you possibly love white people so much?
It smell like lemon juice and Pledge furniture cleaner.
To understand Uncle Ruckus, one must begin with the concept of eternalized racism. Eternalized racism is when members of marginalized racial groups absorb the dominant society's negative beliefs and stereotypes about their group. This often leads to feelings of self-hatred, alienation, and a desire to assimilate into the dominant culture. Ruckus is the exaggerated embodiment of this phenomenon. He idolizes whiteness, believes slavery was a blessing for black people, and fantasizes about being white himself. His identity is built not on pride or self-love, but on self-rejection and denial. He introduces himself with,
Uncle Ruckus, no relation. Nigga, my name is Reverend Father Uncle Ruckus, no relation.
distancing himself from his community figuratively and literally.
Nigga, I thought you was a burglar. A big, fat, funky, nasty, stinking, black, one-eyed burglar.
Uncle Ruckus' psychological damage did not form in a vacuum. His hatred has roots in a traumatic and abusive childhood, most of which he narrates with a bizarre combination of pride and bitterness. In the episode of The Color Ruckus, it's revealed that his mother, Bunny Ruckus, although loving, suffered from extreme internalized racism herself. She told Ruckus that he was cursed with black skin and that his life would have been better if he was born white.
Damn!
She mentally and emotionally beat this belief into him. Bunny Ruckus instilled in him a worldview where whiteness was divine and blackness was a burden. Ruckus's father, Mr., on the other hand, was physically abusive and emotionally distant, further reinforcing a cycle of neglect and self-loathing.
Nigga, did you just break that vase?
Sweet Lord have mercy, my baby!
Just having fun with off limits in Mister's house.
Nigga, did I just catch you having fun?
Sweet Lord have mercy, my baby!
Every day, he reminded me of what a failure I was going to be.
Mister, I want to be a doctor when I grow up.
Nigga, did I just catch you wanting to be?
Sweet Lord have mercy, my baby!
Oh my god, it's not funny.
Ruckus grew up without affirmation, trapped in a household that rejected his identity and taught him to do the same. While his brothers were fine, it was just his parents that were messy. These formative years were essential in shaping Ruckus's belief system. As a child, he wasn't just physically abused, he was psychologically indoctrinated to hate himself. His mother's constant rejection and idolization of whiteness created a binary worldview in which white equals good and black equals evil. This early conditioning explains why Ruckus would rather believe he has a fictional disease that makes him darker than accept his blackness. In his mind, whiteness is salvation and blackness is original sin.
You ever heard of anybody else having revitaligo? Your mama made that up, boy. She thought it'd be good for your self-esteem if you believe deep down you was white. That's why they shouldn't let dumb bitches read psychology books.
Wait a damn minute. Wait a damn...
I hate you. You're the reason why after I say the name Ruckus, I always say no relation. I am adopted.
The Boondocks uses Ruckus as a character and a satirical weapon. mcgunder exaggerates Ruckus to grotesque levels to expose the absurdity and danger of internalized racism. But Ruckus is more than a joke. He is a cautionary tale. Through him, Aron critiques how white supremacist systems can psychologically colonize the minds of the oppressed. Ruckus doesn't just support white supremacy, he becomes its most loyal foot soldier despite being its victim.
Boy, you niggas just don't know a good thing when you see it.
Psychologically, Ruckus exhibits projection and defense mechanisms that help him cope with his internal pain. His hatred toward other black people is a way to deflect the shame he feels about himself. In classic Freudian terms, Ruckus externalizes his inner turmoil by scapegoating others who look like him. By attacking blackness in others, he tries to rid himself of the self-hatred festering within. In Season 2 episode titled The Uncle Ruckus Reality Show, Ruckus's profound identity crisis is laid bare in one of the most psychologically revealing moments of the series. The episode presents a mock reality show centered around Ruckus's daily life, emphasizing his belief that he is white despite all evidence. The episode's climax features a live DNA test, which conclusively states that Ruckus is 102% African. This moment should by all logic force him to reconcile with his true racial identity. Instead, Ruckus doubles down on his delusions. This moment is textbook example of psychological denial, a defense mechanism defined in Freudian theory as a refusal to accept reality or facts to avoid psychological pain. For Ruckus, acknowledging his blackness would collapse the entire identity he has constructed to protect himself from deep-seated feelings of worthlessness and internalized racism. His claim of being white is not merely absurd comedy, it is a coping mechanism to escape the pain instilled in him from childhood, particularly by a racist and emotionally abusive father and mother who taught him to equate blackness with failure, sin, and shame. Now don't get me wrong, his mother was sweet, caring, gentle, and always fought for him, but she also instilled in him like, hey, if you weren't black, your life would be so much better.
You ain't no worthless nigga. Deep down in your heart, you always have to believe that you are special.
Ruckus's refusal to accept the DNA results also demonstrates a cognitive dissonance, a psychological state of discomfort experienced when one's beliefs conflict with undeniable truths. Rather than adjust his worldview, Ruckus distorts reality to maintain his delusions. This behavior reflects what psychologist, apologies if I got his name wrong, Frantz Fanon described in Black Skin, White Mask as an epidermalization of inferiority, a process in which black individuals internalize colonial and racist values to the point of dissociating from their own identity.
Guilty! That nigga is guilty! Hang that nigga now! I got the rope right here!
Episodes like The Trial of R. Kelly and The Return of the King highlight Ruckus's conflicted psyche. In these episodes, he enthusiastically voices white supremacist ideas, even as he exists in a society that sees him as less than. In a flashback, Ruckus is holding a I love Jim Crow sign, which is crazy work, and I'm sure some of you are wondering, who or what is Jim Crow? Jim Crow is not a person per se, but rather refers to a set of laws and practices that enforce racial racial segregation in the United States, particularly in the South. From the late 19th century into the mid-20th century, the term Jim Crow comes from a racist minstrel show character created by white performer Thomas Dartmouth Rice in the 1830s, who portrayed a stereotypical African-American character. After the Reconstruction era, when efforts to integrate formerly enslaved people into society were abandoned, Jim Crow laws were enacted to keep black people separated from white people in public spaces, schools, housing, transportation, and other aspects of life. These laws legalized segregation and reinforced a system of discrimination, resulting in widespread inequality for African Americans. The Jim Crow system lasted until the Civil Rights Movement of the 1950s and 1960s, which sought to challenge and dismantle racial segregation and discrimination through activism, legal challenges, and landmark legislation, such as the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
I'd unleash the hound and turn y'all niggas into puppet child.
Ruckus's hatred isn't just personal, it reflects a broader cycle of racial trauma. When children like Ruckus are raised in environments that glorify one race and demonize another, they inherit a fractured sense of self. His mother, a victim of racism herself, passed down her trauma to Ruckus. This generational pain left unhealed becomes a cycle of psychological violence. Now listen to me. Ruckus did not choose to hate himself. He was taught to. And that is perhaps the most tragic aspect of his character.
A whip, a noose, a nightstick. These things strike fear into a nigga's heart. A job application.
Uncle Ruckus is a paradoxical character. He makes audience laugh with his ridiculous statements, but behind every joke lies a deeply scarred man destroyed by racism and rejection. He is a tragic figure, a symbol of what happens when oppression becomes eternalized and when the dominant culture convinces someone that their very existence is inferior. Through Uncle Ruckus, Aron mcgunder delivers a powerful critique of racism, not just as a system of power, but as a psychological weapon that corrupts the minds of his targets. By understanding Ruckus, we begin to understand how systematic racism operates not just externally, but internally, through families, communities, and media. His character is a painful mirror reflecting the real-world consequences of generational trauma, internalized hatred, and identity loss. While we may laugh at Uncle Ruckus and I'm not gonna lie, he be having me rolling on the floor, we must also grieve for what he represents. The tragedy of a man who was never allowed to love himself.
I hadn't realized before how much my hatred of the Negro came from my hatred of Mister. Maybe it was time to stop hating niggas for being black and start having sympathy for them for being hopelessly inferior to white folks. But as far as darkies go, my adopted family is all right.
And once again, I apologize if this topic is very heavy or makes some viewers uncomfortable, but seeing what's going on in the real world, I thought, you know what? It'd be a good time to talk about Uncle Ruckus and why he hates himself and black people. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what other characters should I do an analysis on, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!